have another book to read to you today that is by a Maine author. So someone who was born right here in Maine, in the state of Maine. And his name is Robert McCloskey. That's what he looks like right there. He also wrote a book that we read called Blueberries for Sal. Do you guys remember that book? About little Sal and her mom and how they went to go pick blueberries and Sal got mixed up with the mama bear's cub and they couldn't find their babies and then they found each other and Sal got to go home. Well, Sal was actually one of Robert McCloskey's children and he wrote that story about his daughter. And he wrote another story about his daughter as she's getting a little bit older. And that is this book right here called One Morning in Maine. And in this book, it's actually far enough in the future that Sal is grown up. I'd say she's probably 5 or 6, maybe even older. And old enough to do something you will see in this book. And then she actually has a little sister who is also in this book, who is Robert McCloskey's other daughter. I think that's so wonderful that he wrote books that are very famous about his own life. Just like you friends do when you write your narrative stories. His stories are so famous and their stories all about him and his children. You friends can do that kind of work too. One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey. This is a book all about a little girl named Sal and how her and her dad go on an adventure out to town, because this is a time, remember, they had to can those blueberries. This was so long ago that they didn't just have stores everywhere that they could just drive to. So let's see what they do to get to town and what happens to Sal while they're on this adventure, because they do a lot of things. This is a little bit longer of a book, but I'm sure you'll like it, so get yourselves ready. One morning in Maine, Sal woke up. She peeked over the top of the covers. The bright sunlight made her blink. So she pulled the covers up and was just about to go back to sleep when she remembered, today is the day I am going to Bucks Harbor with my father. Sal pushed back the covers, hopped out of bed, put her robe and slippers on, and hurried out into the hall. Okay, there was just little Jane, just coming out of her room. So there is her little sister, little Jane. That is her name, little Jane. Oh my goodness, look how big Sal has gotten. The last book that we read, Sal looked just like little Jane. So she's grown up quite a bit in this story. There was little Jane just coming out of her room. Sister Jane had wiggled out of her nightie. So Sal helped her put her robe and slippers on. You don't want to catch cold and have to stay in bed, Jane, because this morning we are going to Bucks Harbor, Sal reminded her sister. Together they went into the bathroom to get ready for breakfast. Sal squeezed out toothpaste on Sister Jane's brush and said, "Be careful, Jane, and don't get it in your hair." Oh, what a helpful little sister. And look, there she is running down the hall without her nightie on. And there she is helping her back into it and then getting her ready for their toothbrush. Oh, what a sweet, sweet sister. I love that. Then she squeezed some toothpaste on her own brush, and when she started to brush her teeth, something felt very strange. This is the something I said that you friends might be able to figure out how old she is. Something felt strange about her tooth. I wonder what it could be. One of her teeth felt loose. Who here has a loose tooth or has lost a tooth already? I know I've lost all my teeth. I have all grown up teeth, but a lot of you friends have been losing teeth. So how old do you think she might be? I'd say probably 6, maybe 7 years old, maybe 8, but probably in 1st grade, I would say. Kindergarten or 1st grade. She wiggled it with her tongue, then she wiggled it with her finger. Oh dear, thought Sal. This cannot be true. Standing on the stool, she looked in the mirror and wiggled her tooth again. Sure enough, it was loose. You could even see it wiggle. "Mama," she cried, "one of my teeth is loose. It will hurt and I'll have to stay in bed. I won't be able to eat my breakfast and go with Daddy to Bucks Harbor." Do Do you think she realizes what a loose tooth is? Can you still do things with a loose tooth? I'm thinking this is probably her first tooth that she's lost. Oh, and she came running down the stairs and into the kitchen. So there she is with her little sister Sal brushing their teeth, and there she is realizing that her tooth is loose. And then here she is running down to her mom, and oh look, they have a dog too. There she is running into her mom's arm because she's very upset. If you could pretend to be the character, what would you do right now? What would you do if you were Sal and you didn't know why your tooth was coming out or why it was loose? You'd probably be doing the same thing, Mom or Dad, what's going on? You'd probably be a little bit upset, right? Okay, why, Sal? Said her mother. That's nothing to worry about. That means that today you've become a big girl. Everybody's baby teeth get loose and come out when they grow up. A nice new bigger and better tooth will grow in when this one comes out. Did your baby teeth get loose and come out when you grew to be a big girl? Sal asked her mother. Yes, she answered. And then those nice large ones grew in. When Penny grew to be a big dog, his puppy teeth dropped out too. Did you guys know that about dogs? They have puppy teeth that come out too. And will Jane's get loose too? Asked Sal. Jane is who? Her little sister. Yes, said her mother, but not for a long time. Not until she stops being a baby and grows up to be a big girl like you. Jane is so young that she hasn't even grown all her baby teeth yet. Now let's all go upstairs and brush our hair and get dressed for breakfast. And there's Sal. Do you think her mom helped her feel better? And they have a kitty cat too. I think her mom helped her feel better. I think she was worried and her mom said, it's okay. Everybody loses their baby teeth. It feels so different to be a big girl and have a loose tooth, said Sal, especially when you are chewing. When is it going to come out? Perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, answered her mother. But when your tooth does come out, you put it under your pillow and make a wish. And your wish is supposed to come true. I know what I'm going to wish for, said Sal. A nice cold chocolate. But you mustn't tell anybody your wish or it won't come true, cautioned her mother. So caution someone is like her mother warned her. It's supposed to be a secret wish. Now finish your melt, Sal. Then you can go out on the beach and help your father dig clams for lunch. I'm a big girl and I can help him dig a lot of clams fast, said Sal, so we can hurry up and go to Buck's Harbor. And there they all are eating breakfast. And what does her mom want her to do? Her mom wants her to go help and dig clams for their lunch, because back then they went out and they got their own food for lunch. They went out into the water and they dug up clams to eat. Way different from now when you can just go to the store and get dinner. After breakfast, when Sal went out to help her father, she saw a fish hawk flying overhead carrying a fish. I have a loose tooth, Sal called up to the fish hawk. The fish hawk flew straight to her nest on top of a tree without answering. She was too busy feeding breakfast to her baby fish hawk. Sal wondered for a moment. She wondered if the baby fish hawk had any teeth to chew his breakfast. Then she started on down toward the beach where her father was digging clams. And there's her house up in the background, and there's Sal. And she's headed down to the beach. Oh, that must be a lovely place to live, huh? Right by the water. When she came near to the water, she saw a loon. Ooh, who here has seen a loon? They are such pretty, pretty birds. I have a loose tooth, Sal called to the loon. And today I have started to be a big girl. The loon didn't say anything, but kept swimming in circles. Then he ducked his beak into the water and snapped out a herring. Then he swallowed it whole without a single chew. Perhaps loons don't have teeth, thought Sal. And she was just turning to go on her way. And this is one of those pages that stops mid-sentence. But I think that he's doing this to make you wonder. And she was just turning away when something happened. When a seal poked his head up out of the water. "I have a loose tooth," Sal said to the seal. And the seal, being just as curious as most seals, swam nearer to have a good look. "See?" said Sal. And she walked closer, right down onto the slippery seaweeds at the water's edge. That sounds a little dangerous to me. The seal swam nearer, and Sal was stooping nearer when... Oops! She slipped on the seaweed and fell, kasploosh! The seal disappeared underneath the water, and the loon laughed, la-hoo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Oh, Sal wasn't hurt a bit, so she laughed too, and then she got up carefully. I think she handled that really well. She got up carefully and started on down the shore to help her father dig clams. A day in the life of Sal. She is quite busy, huh? She paused to watch some seagulls having breakfast. They were dropping mussels down on a rock to crack the mussel shells, just like nuts. Then they flew down to eat the insides. Do seagulls have teeth? Wondered Sal as she wiggled her own loose tooth with her tongue. She thought of her secret wish and smiled, then hurried down the beach to where she could see her father. And there's Sal, right? Where did she go? Right here. Here's Sal. And then right over across the beach, there is her father digging clams. So she's getting very close to him. "Daddy, I have a loose tooth," she shouted. "And when it drops out, I'm going to put it under my pillow and wish a wish. You can even see it wiggle." There's Sal and her dad. How do you think Sal might be feeling right now? She is like really excited. She looks like thrilled to me. Very, very, very happy, huh? Her father stopped digging clams to watch Sal wiggle her tooth for him. "You're growing into a big girl when you get a loose tooth," he said. "What are you going to wish for when it drops out?" "I can't tell you that," Sal said solemnly, "because it's supposed to be a secret wish." "Oh yes, so it is," her father agreed. "May I help you dig clams?" Sal asked. "I'm almost finished," he replied, "but you can help if you'd like. First, you must take off your shoes and socks and roll up your pants too so they won't get all wet and muddy." Because where are they going? Right into the water, into the muddy muck water to catch some clams. Sal took off her shoes and socks and put them on a dry rock. She rolled up her pants and waded into the muddy gravel to help her father. He dug in the mud. Guys, can you dig in the mud? With his clam rake, and they looked carefully and felt around in the muddy hole for clams. "I found a tiny baby one," said Sal. "You certainly did," said her father, "but it's too small. We just keep the large ones like this. Let's put the baby clam back in the mud so he can grow to be a big clam someday." "He is such a baby clam, and I guess he is too small," she agreed. "I guess he isn't even big enough to have all his baby teeth," said Sal, placing the tiny clam tenderly, that means so gently and maybe even a little lovingly, back into the mud. Can you guys put that tiny little clam back into the mud just like Sal? Clams don't have teeth. grunted her father, digging another rakeful of mud. Not even big clams have teeth? Asked Sal. Not even big clams, her father assured her. Do baby fishhawks and big fishhawks have teeth? Asked Sal. No, said her father. Do loons have teeth? She asked. And gulls? No. Do seals have teeth? Yes, they have them, he answered. And do their teeth get loose like this? Asked Sal, opening her mouth to show him her loose tooth. Ow! She said with great surprise. Can you guys say that with me? Ow! Why do you think she might be saying that? I wonder what happened. She felt with her tongue, and she felt with her muddy fingers. Why, it's gone, she said sadly, feeling once more just to make sure. The loose tooth was really and truly gone. The salty mud from her fingers tasted bitter. Why would it taste bitter? I wonder why. What might she have in her mouth that would get like a bitter taste if her tooth came out? Might be bleeding a little bit, huh? The loose tooth was really gone and it tasted bitter in her mouth. And she made bitter tasting face that was almost a face like crying. Oh, did you swallow it, Sal? Her father asked with a concerned smile. No, she shook her head sadly. Shake your head sadly, guys. I was too busy asking to do any swallowing. It just dropped itself out. It's gone and I can't put it under my pillow and my wish won't come true. That's too bad, her father sympathized. That means he kind of understood and felt bad for her. Understood how she was feeling. But you are growing into a big girl, and big girls don't cry about a little thing like that. They wait for another tooth to come loose and make a wish on that one. Maybe we can find my tooth where it dropped, said Sal, hopefully feeling around in the muddy gravel where the clams live. Sal's father helped her look, but a muddy tooth looks so much like a muddy pebble, and a muddy pebble looks so much like a muddy tooth, that they hunted and hunted and hunted without finding it. We'll have to stop looking and take our clams back to the house, Sal, said her father at last, or we won't have time for the trip to the village. He washed off the clams in the salt water of the bay, and Sal reluctantly, like she didn't want to do it, but she did anyway, stopped looking and waded in to wash the mud from her feet and her hands. So she stopped looking for the tooth. I guess some clam will find my tooth and get what I wished for, said Sal. If we come back here tomorrow and find a clam eating a chocolate ice cream cone, what do you think she wished for? A chocolate ice cream cone? Why, we'll have to take it away from him and make him give my tooth back too, she said. So why is Sal feeling upset right now? Because her tooth is gone and she wanted to put it under the pillow and make a wish to get a chocolate ice cream cone. Aww. While Sal put on her socks and shoes, her father packed seaweed around the clams to keep them moist and fresh. Now let's hurry back to the house, he said, and in a few minutes we'll be on our way to Buck's Harbor in the boat to get some milk and groceries. Okay, Sal answered, scrambling to her feet. She gave one last look at the muddy place where she'd lost her tooth, and then started walking back along the shore with her father. She walked along slowly, looking at her feet so that her father could not see her face, in case it looked almost like crying. Oh no, that's so sad. Oh, see what I found, she exclaimed, stooping to pick up a feather. It's a gull's feather, said her father, pausing for Sal to pick it up. Did a gull lose it? Will another feather grow in where this one dropped out? Asked Sal. Oh, this seems like a girl with a lot of questions. I love it. Yes, Sal, that's right, answered her father. Maybe seagulls put dropped out feathers under their pillows and wish secret wishes, Sal suggested. Seagulls don't use pillows, but I suppose they can make wishes, her father said. And I'll make my wish on this feather, Sal decided. Perhaps the seagull has already made a wish on that feather, and the wish is used up, suggested her father. Oh no, Sal said definitely. He didn't. You see, I guess because he was too busy flying and not looking back. He didn't notice it was loose when he brushed his feathers this morning, so he didn't expect it would drop out. He doesn't even know it's gone, she convinced herself. She closed her eyes tight and wished her secret wish, which was for a chocolate ice cream cone. When they reached home, Sal's mother and sister Jane were waiting with a box of empty milk bottles to return to the store and a list of things to buy. I'll have a nice clean chowder ready for your lunch when you get back, said Sal's mother, waving goodbye. I'll take good care of Jane, Sal promised. I'm a big girl and I can watch so she doesn't tumble into the water. Sal and Jane and their father went down to the shore and got aboard their boat. Did they use a car to get to the village? They rowed their boat across the water. That's how they had to get to the village. It's quite the trip. Sal and Jane put on their life preserves while their father prepared to start the outboard motor. He pulled and he pulled on the rope to start it, but the outboard motor just coughed and sputtered and wouldn't start. Oh no! It's not starting for them. I hope they still get to go. So he had to row the boat all the way across the bay to Bucks Harbor where the store was. That would be a lot of work, I bet. Wow, a lot of work. The harbor was full of boats, and Sal's father rowed their boat among them, up to a landing and tied it so it would not drift away while they were at the store. They all climbed ashore, and Sal's father brought along the milk bottles. He brought the outboard motor, too, so Mr. Condon, who ran the garage, could fix it. As they came up the path to the village, Mr. Condon was outside his garage, putting gas into the car. I have a tooth out, Sal greeted, and our outboard motor won't run. My, such trouble, said Mr. Condon, and after he had admired the empty place where Sal's tooth was missing, and look, there's the town that they went to. It's not really a very big town. Probably just a store and a garage and maybe somewhere to eat. And after he had admired the empty place where Sal's tooth was missing, they took the outboard motor into the garage to find why it wouldn't run. Mr. Condon pinched a little with his pliers, tongued a little bit with his hammer, and then, after selecting a large wrench, he took out the spark plug. Came right out, just like that tooth of yours, didn't it, Sal? He said, holding it up to the light. He grunted, tossing it to the floor. Needs a new spark plug. Sal was just about to ask how long it would take for a new spark plug to grow in when Mr. Condon reached up to the shelf. So she thought that it had to grow in because all she's thinking about is teeth today. Mr. Condon reached up to the shelf and picked out a brand new one and put it on the motor. Sal picked up the old spark plug and handed it to her sister Jane. Jane was so little that she didn't understand about secret wishes. Jane was so little that she couldn't even say ice cream cone. So Sal wished the secret wish for Jane on the spark plug. What did she do for her sister? She wished that Jane would get some ice cream too. Mr. Condon pulled the rope and the motor started right up, just as good as new. Sal's father thanked him and picked up the motor and the milk bottles. Jane carried her spark plug, Sal carried her feather, and they said goodbye and walked across the street to where Mr. Condon's brother kept store. So now they're headed to the store. who's here?" said the Mr. Condon who kept store. "I have a tooth out," Sal shouted, returning Mr. Condon's greeting. She is very excited to tell everybody about her tooth. She showed the empty place where her tooth had been, first to Mr. Condon, then to Mr. Fred Clifford and Mr. Oscar Staples, who were sitting in the store talking about trapping lobsters and how the fish were biting. "Don't put your tongue in the empty place," Mr. Clifford advised, "and a nice shiny gold one like mine will grow in." "Huh," said Mr. Condon, chuckling. "Don't you go worrying about everything these jokers suggest. I don't suppose," he added, opening up his freezer, "that you could eat an ice cream cone with one of your teeth out." What is he offering her? An ice cream cone? She must be so excited. "Oh, yes, I could," said Sal, "and it's supposed to be chocolate." "And this little lady?" he questioned, turning to Jane. "Hers is supposed to be vanilla, so the drips won't spot. And you'd better push it together tight so it won't drop off," Sal dictated. "Because she's still almost a baby and doesn't even have all of her first teeth." After Mr. Condon had put the groceries and milk in the box, they thanked him once more and waved goodbye. They walked down the path to the harbor because they are headed back home. And down the runway to the float where their boat was tied. They all climbed aboard carrying the outboard motor, the box of milk and groceries, the feather, the spark plug, and the ice cream cones. While their father fastened the outboard motor to the boat, Sal and Jane finished their ice cream cones. "I want some more," Jane demanded. "Silly," exclaimed Sal. "Our wishes are all used up." Then she remembered that she was growing up, and just like a grown-up, she said, "Besides, Jane, 2 ice cream cones would ruin your appetite. When we get home, we're going to have..." And there they are, getting right back onto their boat. And what are they going to have when they get home? Do you remember? We're going to have clam chowder for lunch. And that seems like a very Maine thing, doesn't it? Who here has had clam chowder? Oh, it's so delicious. All right, I know that's a longer book, like a much longer book, but I hope that you liked it. I love that book. It makes me think of a lot of you friends because a lot of you are losing teeth right now. And I said, I think that they'll understand this book. They'll be able to relate. I have a question for you. What was your very favorite part of this book? And are there any parts that you really thought were a lot like something that happened to you? Can you make a connection between you and this book? I would love to hear what you have to say. I hope that you guys have an awesome day. And I will see you on Monday or this afternoon if you watch this early enough. Bye.